Organic Dope, UFC 151 breakdown. Bill Schumer here with Robert Hallaman, Dan Littlefield.
Jon Bones Jones.
Rob Hallaman is the new champ.
The
8-2 last time. I'd like to give a shout out to Sportshound Canada. Actually went 5-1 on his picks.
Good job.
Maybe we'll plug you a little better if you pick them all. We're picking them all. Come on, man. Anyway, the main
our overall records are looking pretty close to that 46-30, 42-32, 44-32.
Yeah, you guys are tied. I'm still up
by
above,
2.
but you guys should be used
You
to
guys
that
got
by
the
now.
percentages?
By 2.
I did not do those.
I don't have a calculator in front of me, and I can't do that kind
So
of
in
math.
Either way, I'm not the champ.
Anyways,
so
Jon
it doesn't matter.
Jones is going to highlight this card with a big win, big finish.
He's a huge favorite, 7-1. No doubting that he's the man. Dan Henderson, however, is I like the fight. It's a good test for him. If he connects like Rashad connects, it could be lights out for Jones.
He ain't going to get close enough.
There's a 13.5-inch reach advantage in the fight.
Not to mention a 5-inch height advantage.
And his wrestling's good, so...
Not to mention there's also a 16-year fight. He's 41 versus 25.
Yeah, but Henderson's kind of like a couture, man.
I agree. But I just feel like this fight, Dan Henderson's reach advantage, his T. I've always called him a T-Rex arm because I've always felt like he's been short arms.
I mean, disadvantage.
Yeah, it's big disadvantage. Sorry. Oh, I feel the reach is going to be a big advantage for Jon Jones because of that. I mean, he's 84 inches versus 71. I mean, that's a huge...
Henderson covers good distance, though, and he throws a lot of punches if he gets in close.
But Jon Jones retreats in a huge distance, and if he does get close to him and he takes 2 steps backwards, Jon Jones is going to take 6 steps forward to catch him. Or Henderson's going to take 6 steps forward to catch Jon Jones.
What if you get him into the fence?
He ain't going to circle out of it. I mean, he's not going to. He's not going to get that close. He's not going to be as nearly agile, just like Rashad Evans. I mean, you look at Rashad Evans, you compare Rashad Evans to Dan Henderson physically, and it's completely 2 different people. Rashad Evans is quick, big, agile. Dan Henderson is big, strong, not as agile and more powerful. And I think that's really going to show in this fight. And it's going to be... I love Dan Henderson, I do, but I think it's going to be an ugly fight for him, and Jon Jones is going to win. First round, knockout, TKO.
First round, TKO, wow.
What do you think, Rob?
I'm going to put it all on the line here. Putting the belt up against you guys because I'm picking Dan Henderson. And primarily because Dan Henderson is one of my favorite fighters of all time. And I just cannot pick against Dan Henderson.
I hate doing it.
I can't do it. I have to pick Dan Henderson. And, I agree. I think the reach is a real disadvantage for Dan Henderson. I also think that Dan Henderson's wrestling isn't going to help him a lot because Dan Henderson was an Olympic Greco-Roman wrestler, and in order to be using Greco-Roman wrestling, you have to be in the clinch, in close, and really the type of wrestling that would work good against Jon Jones would be freestyle wrestling, or MMA wrestling, as they say, the kind of wrestling GSP does or Chael Sonnen does, not Greco-Roman. So that doesn't really help him either.
Who'd you pick again?
I picked Dan Henderson.
I'm just curious by the way you're talking, that's all.
Also, Jon Jones said that he's going to be the first person to ever TKO Dan Henderson. So he's talking a lot of stuff. But
it's going to happen.
Henderson said he hopes he tries.
Yeah.
Because then he's got to get close enough to him.
He's
got to come after him.
How close does Jon Jones really have to get to TKO you? Not that close.
84 inches?
I mean, it's not that close.
I'm rooting for Henderson, and I wanted to try to pick him. I rewatched the Anderson Silva Dan Henderson fight just to remember what was going on. And Anderson got him down, man, and even though in the first round Henderson had him, he didn't do much with it. Jones is bigger. I think Henderson ends up on his back.
He may.
And that's bad news for him.
I am putting my faith and the belt in Dan Henderson, one of my favorite fighters of all time, that he's going to be able to hit the H-bomb on the chin or in the face somewhere and put Jones out permanently for the fight with one punch because I believe in Dan Henderson.
Well, there you have it. He is the champ. So we also got Jake Ellenberger, Jay Heron. Ellenberger.
With Heron, right? You went with Heron?
I am going to go with Heron.
I wanted to take him.
First fight in the UFC. He was a Bellator champ, an IFL champ.
His last loss was a guy named Ben Askren, who I've talked about on this show several times. I'd like to see him make a move. I haven't really heard much about him. I know he's done great in Bellator, and I've seen him fight a couple of times, and I like the wrestling style guys, and he's a great wrestler, and I've watched him a couple of his fights, and he is a very technical, very good wrestler. Like, I'd say his wrestling... Yeah, Ben
yeah,
Askren.
He's a top guy. He was a champ.
He's from Missouri, from Kansas City.
He did lose that fight by decision, though, and Ellenberger's not the wrestler that he is.
No.
So I think Ellenberger did look really good, especially when he came out and when he smashed Shields, didn't he?
Yeah.
Man, it was like
he smashed
7
Shields.
seconds.
I was like,
Seconds.
he looks nasty, but
No, it wasn't 7 seconds.
Campman caught him, and I think Huron's kind of like going to be that same matchup as Campman, you know, the taller, lankier, good striker, and I think he's tough. He's been around a long time. I mean, he was GSP's second fight.
Yeah, he smashed Jake Shields in 53 seconds. TKO by knees and
Wow,
punches.
I was way off. I said 7 or 8 seconds.
But he's coming off that.
off.
He's coming off that TKO.
I'm the
loss,
anti-stat
though.
guy. I got
Right.
all the wrong stats.
They have
Mess
this
it all
listed. I'm not sure what this was. They have listed of the fight ending by KTFO.
Knock the fuck out.
I know. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me.
That's awesome.
That's what it is. I guess it
Someone
was pretty
fucking put
nasty.
that on. Someone put that on the internet as
Is
his
that on
record.
Google?
It's on Wikipedia.
That's hilarious.
KTFO by knees.
Yeah, someone fucking did that.
Knock the
That's
fuck out.
fucking awesome. Good job, whoever
They
did that.
should start calling that for the Chuck Liddells. Ones when you get
But
cracked.
Ellenberger's last loss before that was to Carlos Condit, and that was
they're
in
tough
2009. So, I mean,
Well,
I think the guy comes in hungry, and Ellenberger overlooks him a little.
this is what I think. I think that Ellenberger was winning against Diego Sanchez, and then it got to the third round, and he was gassed, and Diego Sanchez beat the crap out of him in the third round. And if that would have been a five-round fight, Ellenberger would have lost that fight. As a matter of fact, if it would have went 30 more seconds, the ref might have stopped it by TKO,
wonder-
and Ellenberger would have lost. And I think that Ellenberger lost against Campman, so I feel like Ellenberger is going to get back on track with this fight and get back to his solid winning ways that he had with Jake Shields. So I'm picking Ellenberger to win on this one.
that's what I hope happens. I'm taking Ellenberger too, but we got to make sure we mention that Jay Huron and Ellenberger have fought already once, and it was a little while ago. It was back in
Who won?
2007, and Jay Huron won by it was back in 2006, and Jay Huron won unanimous decision in the IFL championship.
How many
So
rounds?
3
5?
rounds,
3?
3 4-minute rounds. IFL, I think does 4-minute rounds, and maybe some of our viewers out there that watch us could let us know the exact reason. We've been perplexed as why that fight didn't go 5 rounds with Ellenberger and Sanchez on the Fuel card, because it was a main event, and the ones prior to that went 5 rounds that were main event. I don't know if it was a Fuel TV or if it was maybe those fights were signed before that new rule was changed, or if it was in Sweden, their rules. Maybe somebody out there can tell us. I would appreciate it.
Well, we also got Dennis Siever versus Eddie Yagin. Yagin's coming off that big win over Hominick. I don't think anybody thought he was going to win. Maybe they did. Dennis Siever is a Taekwondo guy.
He's
decent
known
on the
for
ground.
that spinning back kick that fucks people up.
He's a
He's a
fire
pro
hydrant,
kick,
man.
yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
he's a
He
stocky
was a little
guy.
small for 155, I thought.
Short.
Yeah, if he's
145 's good.
5'7". I mean, Yagin's
He just
5'7"
looked smaller
also.
when he fought those people, like specifically like height. He always looks shorter than
He
everybody.
always was. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
he's
he's
so
5'7", but he was always real strong. So I think this drop here, I mean,
Yeah.
he won his last fight at this drop at this weight here.
I think he's going to be better
against,
at 145.
I do too. He beat Diego Nunez in a unanimous decision in his first
I like
fight.
Nunez.
So do I, and he's a good fighter. So I mean, before that, he lost to Donald Cerrone. I mean, Dennis
That was at
Siever's beat
155,
Matt.
though.
Yeah, but still, I mean, he's beat. He's beat Matt Wyman, George Scropolopoulos, Spencer Fisher.
George who?
Yeah, no, actually, it wasn't even him. It's
It's
Soteropoulos.
It's Soteropoulos.
Soteropoulos. Okay, yeah,
George Metropolis.
there we go.
He
Like
beat
you
George
said.
Metropolis.
He's lost to Melvin Gillard, Gray Maynard. Those were back in 08, but he's got a lot of big fights, and I think he's going to take this fight. Eddie Yagin is a good fighter, but I think he's going to lose.
I'm picking Siever as well. I like Siever. He's a German, right? He's German, isn't he?
Russian.
No, he's not Russian, is he?
He's from Omsk, Russia.
Really?
Yep, Russian.
Wow.
SFR,
I thought he was from Germany.
Soviet Union.
I'm going to pick the Russian.
You're picking Siever too?
Yep.
Okay.
And I also think that that fight has a decent chance if the main event doesn't pull it to be fight of the night.
I can see that too, for sure.
I don't see how the main event could be fight of the night. It's either going to end with Jon Jones being the first person to TKO Dan Henderson pretty early, probably, or it's going to win by H-bomb landing. And
that could have a submission of the night or a TKO of the night written on it, but I don't think fight of the night.
Yeah, I guess Dan Henderson's been submitted before, so I guess Jon Jones could try to pull another submission off.
I mean, you never know. He can grab those.
Henderson fights.
Ask Lyoto Machida, who got knocked out standing up, put to sleep standing up, and then dropped on his face. I mean, he can submit.
I'm just saying that it only takes that one uppercut, like he threw against Fedor. He was not winning that Fedor fight until he threw that one uppercut, and that was it. And Fedor just fell face first on the ground.
Yeah, it was nasty.
I'll
go on the record and say that Jon Jones won't choke Dan Henderson standing up in a clinch.
You don't think?
Fuck no, he ain't. Not in the clinch, dude. Not like that shit with Machida. Not Dan Henderson. Nope.
Yeah, Dan Henderson's too good in the clinch. Yeah, you're probably right.
I don't think it's going to be too much in the clinch. I think that if Jon Jones gets his game plan to work, it'll be either taking Dan down or keeping completely on the outside.
Keeping distance from him and taking him apart with those leg kicks.
He could throw him. I just see him in that clinch. Jon Jones getting that throw.
Jon Jones going to come out crawling into the ring or rolling around the floor in the beginning.
He hasn't done that in a while since the Rampage fight.
He didn't do it in Rashad's fight, but he did it the 2 fights before that.
I remember he did it in the Rampage fight. Did he do it in the other fight too? I remember the Rampage fight because he said he didn't want to get caught with a big punch, and that's why he wanted his hand down.
He did in Rampage, and what was the fight after? Machida. Yeah. All I know is that I haven't been wrong on a UFC main event card for actual UFC, card, pay-per-view card ever.
Well,
so
jinxed yourself,
I'm not only putting the belt on, I'm not only putting the belt on the line. I'm putting that record on the line too, because Dan Henderson deserves it.
Tell you what, Rob, what the few weeks have made a difference, huh? A few cards. I just remember just a few cards ago, this guy telling everyone not to listen to a thing he had to say, and how he just didn't know what he was doing, and now he's over there tapping on that belt. I'm putting it on the line. He's like, oh man, he's confident.
I am putting it on the line because
the belt will do it to you, man.
I'm putting it on the line because I could go with the easy pick of Jon Jones, but I'm putting it out there, giving you guys a chance.
Hey, you know what? As a guy who's gone out there and put it out there before, like a Frank Mir, over a Joe Dos
You're really
Santos.
not comparing Frank Mir to Dan Henderson, are you? Come on.
I mean, Frank Mir's been around forever.
No, Frank's
you got to give Frank Mir his dues, but
Dan Henderson knocked fuck out of Frank Mir.
I don't know. That would be a tough fight. He'd be an awfully big. Frank Mir, an awfully big guy for him to fight.
Dan Henderson's fought heavyweight before. He don't care.
I know, but
Dan Henderson fought an elephant.
Frank Mir's a big boy.
Didn't you see that video?
That's why he's fighting Daniel
Dan
Cormier.
Henderson was fighting a rattlesnake a few weeks ago.
What, really? Was that on YouTube?
Yeah, he's got it, and he's holding it with
Dan Henderson
with a broom. I mean, he didn't give a shit. He's Dan Henderson. He's like the honey badger of MMA. He don't give a shit. Dan Henderson don't give a shit.
Good stuff here, folks.
Dennis Hallman versus Thiago Tavares. Hallman's first UFC fight was versus Hughes back in 2000. Guy's got 65. What 65?
36 years old.
Yeah, he got. He pissed off Dana White a while back by
he
coming
made
out
one
in
of those
Speedos
UFCs X-rated. His left fucking nut came out in the middle of the fight. Or something.
Who did that, Hallman?
Yeah, he had.
He was wearing Speedos.
Said he lost a bet.
Was that the fight that Dana White said the guys can't fight in those shorts anymore?
Yeah.
I remember that. I was like, what's this guy doing in these freaking shorts, dude? I was like,
he was pissed after that.
Dude, it was an uncomfortable fight to watch for the viewers. It really was, man.
That's hilarious.
Tavares is a black belt jiu-jitsu.
I think they're both black belts in jiu-jitsu, honestly.
Possibly. I'm going to give this one to Tavares. I
am going to give it to Thiago as well.
All three of us are.
I have not been impressed by Hallman's last, 4 or 5 fights that I looked up.
We also got John Lineker and let's try this again. Yasuhiro Urishitani.
That's pretty good. Not bad.
Urishitani, probably.
Yasuhiro.
I'm taking Urishitani.
Okay, I'm picking Urishitani as well. However, the main reason I'm picking him is I believe he was ranked the number 2 flyweight in the world going into the tournament where he lost to Benavidez. And then he lost to Benavidez. But Benavidez is in the finals now against Mighty Mouse. So, I mean, he's really only lost one fight since he was number 2. So, I don't really hold too much against him for that. But not only that, but that John Lineker has never had a win in the UFC yet. But he's also didn't make 125. He didn't make weight when he tried to fight at flyweight in his first fight in the UFC. He failed to make weight. So he's never really fought at 125 in the UFC yet. He's never even made weight.
Was he a 135 guy?
I think he was a 145 guy, but I'm not positive about that. But either way, you can't even guarantee the guy's going to make weight, as far as I'm concerned, much less win. So I'm picking Hiroshitani as well.
I had the same guy. Hiroshitani.
Yasuhiro.
Having issues with the names this evening.
Yasuhiro Ushitani. That sounded horrible.
That's the main card. We got a preliminary card on FX. Danny Castillo and Michael Johnson.
I had Danny Castillo.
Why?
I just like that he comes from Team Alpha Male, and he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. And Michael Johnson, I'm not too really familiar with him. He comes out of Black Zillions, who really hasn't been faring so well from their camp into the UFC. So I just feel like he's not going to be able to win this fight.
Gotcha. And who do you got, Rob?
I'm taking Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson was on The Ultimate Fighter. He's primarily a wrestler, but his wrestling is really good. I believe he lost in the finals, and then went on to fight Tony Ferguson recently, who was a previous TUF winner, and beat him. So even though he didn't win the season he was on, he went and ended up beating a winner of TUF just recently. I think he's got good wrestling. I think he looked a lot improved when he fought Ferguson. So I'm taking Michael Johnson.
I'm going to take Castillo if I didn't say that. We also got Jeff Hoagland and Takeya Mitsugaki.
I got Hoagland. I don't do so well with the Japanese fighters, so I'm going to stick with...
I actually agree with that. It seems like if in the UFC, if it goes to decision, almost 9 times out of 10 it goes to the non-Asian guy. I don't know why, but it always seems to go that way. I almost think that they just don't like giving decision wins to Asians. I mean, if you're Asian, you better knock them out or submit them, or I guess that's why the Korean Zombie wins. Because he doesn't let it go to decision usually.
We'll take Mitsugaki.
I got Hoagland.
Good, I can gain one on you guys. I bet on Hoagland the last 2 times we've reviewed him, so I'm actually going against him.
He won one and lost one, I guess.
1-1, but I wasn't too impressed last time. And like you said, Mitsugaki's losses are against guys
Top
that everybody
guys,
loses to. So.
Yeah, but he's lost every one of them. He lost to...
Yeah, a lot of those are
But
WC,
Hoagland's not one of those guys. Tim Means, Abel Trujillo.
I had Tim Means.
I'm taking Tim Means as well.
I'm taking Tim Means.
Tim Means.
Derek Cruikshank.
2-0 in the UFC.
He is. Derek Cruikshank, Henry Martinez.
I'm going with Cruikshank. 1-0, Division III wrestler. I like my wrestler, so I'm going to stick with the guy.
I'm taking Cruikshank as well. Wow, not a lot of differences now.
Not a whole lot.
Good, I'll take Martinez.
Okay.
I like to mix things up.
Hey, that's the only way you can get the belt for sure, right? If you have differences.
Shane Roller, Jacob Volkman. These fights are on Facebook.
Facebook fights are the fights I never watch.
I check them out all the time.
I'm going with Volkman.
I don't like watching fights on the internet.
I'm going to go with Volkman as well.
I'm taking Volkman too.
Well, that makes it easy.
Yeah. Charlie Brenneman, Kyle Noak.
Kyle Noak.
I'm going to pick Kyle Noak because otherwise, other than that one Rick Story fight, I haven't been really impressed by Charlie Brenneman. So
I'm going to take Charlie Brenneman.
Oh, Bill's changing it up, huh?
Yeah, screw both you guys. That's UFC 151.
Johnny Bones Jones, he's the big topic of the subject with his TKO of Dan Henderson. I'm reading the future.
It's time for a new champ.
TKO, yeah, it is me. I'm going to take that belt. He's going to have a TKO.
It's time for a new light heavyweight champ in the UFC.
As well as an organic dope champ. So we can shut Rob up.
It's going to be the
H-bomb.
H-bomb.
His mouth.
The H-bomb.
Hey, if Jon Jones wins, like this video. Jon Jones, like this video. You know he is.
Okay, well, if Dan Henderson wins, thumbs down the video.
Well, that's good, because we won't get any thumbs down. We shouldn't get any thumbs down.
Let's see what the people want. Let's see who the people want. They want the legend Dan Henderson to win, or they want
The future
cocky
legend.
bastard,
The future
Jon Jones, to
legend.
win.
The future legend.
Tell you what, it's going to have to be over in like 3 rounds, though. Otherwise, Dan's going to gas.
Well, that's it, guys. Thanks a lot. We out.
Peace.
Later.